So there are a lot of videos online about the Galaxy Z Flip 5 versus the Z Flip 6, or the Z Fold 6 versus the Z Flip 6. And I thought, like, who's really gonna make a decision between those two? So let us today compare the Z Flip 6 to something we've used actually for a long time, which is the Z Flip 4. So let's take a look at how far Samsung has come in 2 years.
Namaste, we're DHRME, Daily Hustle reviewing modern electronics. That's a good one.
Right, we have to start with the physical aspect ratio, and that has changed considerably. The cover screen is now 3.4 inches versus a measly 1.9, and this was already the case with the Z Flip 5, so not much has changed here. But it's important to note that this is actually useful now, the Z Flip 6. If you're considering an upgrade from the 4 to the 6, this might actually be a very, very big deal. Another big change in addition to the screen size is that the Z Flip 4 did not fold flat. So you can see here, there's a gap in between, whereas the Z Flip 5 and the Z Flip 6 can close fully flat without that gap. When the Flip 4 was launched, it had this tuned by AKG branding. The speakers were pretty bad, to be honest. And that's the first big change that I noticed when using the Flip 6. On phone calls, like, the sound had much more body and low end and less distortion. So that's definitely a huge upgrade that I noticed. But it's there even in day-to-day use. You don't have to listen to music on it or whatever. Way better speakers on the Flip 6. And guys, the other change was so big that I had to do this. You actually get DeX on the Galaxy Z Flip 6, and it's not just any old DeX either. It is the updated brand new DeX. USB cable, Z Flip 6. The weird thing though is it doesn't quite work out of the box. As you saw, when I just plugged it in, it simply starts mirroring the phone. But you have to enable Android developer options, go into force desktop mode, restart your phone, and then you get this. So this is not your regular DeX mode like you get on the Fold devices. This is like what you get on the tablet. So it's called New DeX. And basically what you're seeing here is my phone is connected via USB to my monitor, and my mouse is also connected to my phone, and you can see I can just open things, drag things around. So I must say, this is something I really missed on the Z Flip 4, and this is a game changer for those of you who want to take your small little device around and just have a full desktop experience with just a USB cable. Big props to Samsung for doing this. I'll go back and grow my beard. But that's not all that's changed, and that's why I think that the Flip 6 is a bigger upgrade than the Fold 6, because A, you get 12 gigs of RAM on the Flip 6 versus the 8 gigs that you got with the 4 and the 5. So that's a significant improvement in multitasking and, you know, keeping things in memory. But not just that, you also get a battery upgrade. Now, I have been testing the battery of this over the last couple of weeks. You can find us on Threads and see the actual real life usage of these phones in real time. My usage wasn't great, but my experience also is that Samsung phones take about 2 weeks or so to settle in, to learn your usage patterns, or just to do whatever they need to do. Maybe they're very battery intensive in the beginning because they're downloading and setting up stuff. I don't know what it is, but I got 4 hours, about 4 hours, a bit under on the Flip 6. And I think it's only going to improve over time. So the battery life should definitely be an upgrade from the Flip 4 if that was a big concern and why you want to switch over to a Flip 6. Because the battery capacity has increased, what was it, about 3,700 milliamp hours to just under 3,900 thereabouts. So that has increased, and of course you have like 2 generations of processors after that, from the 8 Plus Gen 1 to the 8 Gen 3. So all those should contribute to better efficiency and battery life. Now, while on battery life, another major upgrade is the base storage. You're now getting a minimum of 256 gigs of base storage on the Flip 6 as against the 128 Z Flip 4 came with. So whether you want it or not, you're going to get some decent storage, and you can store more videos and photos on. And you might need that because the photos might be bigger, because the main sensor now has a 50 megapixel sensor, so you can get a much bigger photo and crop in later without any loss. Here are a couple of samples that I shot side by side, and it's still the same Samsung processing, but of course bigger sensor should mean better light. Same applies to the selfie camera. The selfie camera does seem to be wider, at least the photos I took. They're both 12 megapixels still, but obviously 2 years of upgrade, these are the differences. All right, this is the selfie video in low light situations. I'm in kind of a dark room. It's still daytime, so there is light streaming in from the blinds. But which one? This is the Z Flip 4 and this is the Z Flip 6. Which one do you guys think looks better? At least for me, I can barely see my face in the Z Flip 4 because of the small screen. And on the Flip 4, I can center myself fairly well. Sorry, on the Flip 6, I can center myself fairly well. Let us know. But a ton of things have not changed, and that includes the crease. So if you look at the crease on the Z Flip 6, tell me if you can see the crease. There you go. And this is the crease on the Z Flip 4. If anything, the crease seems to have kind of increased a bit. It's a bit taller, if you know what I mean. And the form factor is pretty much exactly the same. Sure, the camera layout is different, and I must say the Flip 6 has some nicer colors, but other than that, yeah, the form factor is pretty much identical. One thing the Samsung is probably really afraid to upgrade, and is in its power, I think, to upgrade, is the battery life. Not the battery life, but the charging situation. After the Note 9, I think they're being super careful, and the Note 9 disaster means that they're kind of still limiting battery charging speed. So you're still getting 25 watts of wired charging, still getting 15 watts of wireless, and 4.5 watts of reverse wireless charging. I guess they don't want it to catch fire, but a lot of companies have overtaken them in this regard already. Now, if this is your main consideration, or this is what you're debating, moving from Flip 4 to Flip 6, if it's a big change, it absolutely is. And the biggest change actually came on the Flip 5 with that huge cover screen up front, which can help you take, better selfies. But not just that, you can even use it to just to use apps and things like that. And it's maybe a lot of people say this is good, they're trying to reduce phone usage by just using the cover screen, so it becomes a bit harder to use and you focus more on your life. I don't believe any of that. I think if you don't want to use your phone, you just don't use your phone. Don't use the smaller version of your phone. But that aside, it is definitely one of the biggest upgrades also for photos and videos. One huge disappointing factor for me on the cover screen is that if you shoot video on the cover screen, it gives you a weird aspect ratio, very squarish, like according to what you see on the screen, but B, you cannot shoot 4K using the cover screen, which would have been a great use case for people who want to shoot high quality video using the rear camera on their phone, and Samsung still doesn't let us do that. It's a big miss from Samsung. So yeah, the Flip 6 is definitely, I would say, one generation ahead of the Flip 4. But should you consider something else? Because there are so many other phones out there, and a lot of reviews say that Samsung is being lazy with this design, and I have to kind of agree. Under the hood, there are a lot of improvements, and maybe Samsung thinks their product is so mature that they don't need to do crazy iterations. When competition is out there and nipping at your heels, you want to be on top of that. So I'm not sure if this puts Samsung on top of that, but maybe they have enough of a following where if they put out a solid, safe, good performing flip phone, it still does well, and maybe they don't want to worry about the competition, at least not till Apple gets in the ring. So that's it, guys. This was a different kind of video. Let us know if you like more off-the-cuff content.
So just a quick disclaimer, guys. Samsung sent us the Flip 6 as a review sample, so that one's going back. The Flip 4 we bought with our own money. And no money exchanged hands. This is not a sponsored video. This is a review or an opinion of ours, right? And the reason we're able to buy things like the Flip 4 is because of you guys, our tested tier members who are supporting us financially. And a special thanks goes out to our Fuckman tier, Paula and Gamma Panda. Thank you guys so much. You've been flipping out, and we've been DHRME. Doei!